Today we have with us Paweł Nowakowski and Katarzyna Stachurska-Kadziak, who will talk about the SMEthod project. Before we start with the webinar, I just want to remind you that we have Q&A window where you can type in all your questions. So if you want to know anything, just don't be shy. Kasia and Paweł, welcome. The floor is all yours.
Good afternoon. I am Katarzyna Stachurska-Kadziak, and I represent project coordinating party, ISM Market Research and Analysis Center from Poland. I am sociologist, so my both academic and professional background are marketing and social analysis and researches. In ISM, I've been working since 2011, and since that time I've been involved in many European projects, both as a project manager and as a researcher. And in SMEthod, I am involved in a variety of ISM tasks, mainly those related to SMEs segmentation methodology building. Okay, so hello, my name is Paweł Nowakowski. As Kasia, I'm also a project manager at ISM, which is coordinating the SMEthod project. The SMEthod is a Horizon 2020 project. And welcome everybody, our participants, to our webinar. We will talk about better SMEs for better innovation. This is the topic of our webinar. I am a coordinator of this project, like a personal coordinator. And I am also an assistant professor at the University of Wrocław. So my background is quite similar as Kasia's. I was also involved in a couple of research projects that were financed by the European Commission. And I'm also an academic, so I will present also this project assumptions, methodological background, and Kasia will later on present particular results of our project. Okay, so as I said, the title is Better SMEs for Better Innovation. And we should start from a definition of innovation, because it is what people ask us when we tell them about our research. And we just follow the famous Oslo manual that says that an innovation is the implementation of new or significantly improved product, which might be a good or a service or a process. It might be a process internal to the firm, a new marketing method, or a new organizational method in business practice, workplace organization, or external relations. So following this, we can distinguish a few types of innovation that we were focusing on in our project. So there is a product innovation, process, marketing, and organizational innovation, just like the definition of Oslo Manual points out. Why our project was, what is the aim of our project, the rationale for our project is that it is, as you know, there are innovation policies in many countries in Europe as a whole, in the European Union, but also national policies, and there are innovation support schemes. And it is usually that supporting organizations, supporting agencies conduct some kind of a segmentation, which is quite technical word, but I will explain it later on. Then, based on the segmentation, some innovation support is given to particular companies, especially we are focusing on SMEs, because larger companies receive that support not that often. And then the result is an economic growth. So we can also distinguish between two groups of policy instruments.
there are demand-side policy instruments, which are, for example, public procurements, procedures and standards, which takes into account innovation. So demand-side policy instruments are the ones that are, for example, managed by the institutions. They, for example, procure, they make some procedures like this. And there are supply-side policy instruments. Here, direct research and development funding, fiscal measures, debt and risk sharing, and technology extension services. Here, we can also talk about different loans, bank credits, and subsidies. Yes, and why SMEthod? SMEthod is the title of our project is Methodology for Efficient Segmenting Innovating SMEs based on life cycles, represented sectors, and regional characteristics. So the acronym is SMEthod, just from SME and method. The European Commission found out that there is a little efficiency in their methods of supporting methods of segmentation to support companies in the best way possible. That's why they called for proposals, project proposals that will address this topic in order to better segment innovating SMEs in order to match particular appropriate support measures like those mentioned before by me, for example, bank loans, tax credits, etc. And also another rationale for having this call was to make innovations more regional and socioculturally, regionally and socioculturally sensitive in terms of delivering the product services that will be the ones that are the most needed in particular regions. Also, they pointed out that we need some new circumstances and new criteria, categories to take into account, like, for example, life cycles, sectors, regions. That's why all those three categories can be found in the very title of our project. This project is financed by European Union within the Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program. The core topic was innovating SME segmentation along life cycle and sectors. And the project started in December 2017 and is and will be finished in mid-June 2020. So we are, as you can see, in the last phase of our project. That's why we hope to share with you some interesting results today as well. Here, just a brief look at our partners. So, as Kasia and me pointed out, we are representing ASM, which is a coordinating entity of the SMEthod project. And this is market research agency, but also very active in the field of international research projects. We have also a team of econometricians from the University of Łódź in Poland. We have an SME Appintech, that is an IT company, VTT from Finland, which is a research center, Cámara de Comercio, Industria y Servicio de Badajoz, which is a chamber of commerce from Spain, ISPIM Society, of course, that Lucia is a part of, who introduced us, and who is organizing this great, I hope, great seminar and great webinar, and also Lancaster University that support us in different tasks as well. So as you can see, there are 7 partners from 5 countries, and I hope it creates a great synergy, because we are from different fields. However, there are a couple of academics here, but not only so. We try to be as close to the industry as possible, not only from the academic perspective. Here are our main objectives of project's method. First, we started from evaluating of existing methods of segmentation. So we studied a couple of supporting systems in our case study countries, that is in Poland, in Finland, in the UK, and in Spain. Then we evaluated support measures based on econometric studies, using also different databases. By the way, the results of our work can be found in our publicly available reports that are available for free at our website, which I will tell you about at the end. Our crucial objective was objective number 3, so development of improved methodology of segmentation, because we want, of course, to base on those best practices that already are in place. So we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We just want to improve what has been done. However, our improvement, as you can see, as you will see, is quite significant. Then we need to also define and identify improved matching criteria, which means, as you might remember from my previous slides, and the criteria for matching particular support measures, support instruments from the organization supporting innovation in SMEs to particular segments of companies, because it appeared that it's not always the case that the same instruments have the same impact on all SMEs. It is quite differentiated because of different behaviors and propensity to innovate from the companies. Objective 5 is also very important because we have been also creating a decision support tool which aims at supporting those agencies, organizations that deliver support instruments to the SMEs by such an IT instrument, that IT tool that will be available online for the organizations, and their decision-making process will be enhanced, fostered, and made much more easy, because it will be a kind of IT system that will analyze data that will be introduced to it, and based on this, it will segment automatically companies into a couple of segments, and as a result, there will be much more easier to get to know to what segment which company should be grouped and with which instrument it should be supported. So basically, this is the aim. Of course, dissemination and exploitation of this methodology and decision support tool is also very crucial, because it is a very practical project, let's say. So the results we hope will be tested and used on the European-wide level. Our main assumptions, there are actually a couple of them, but I would like to focus on two, the most important, because segmentation especially can be understood in different ways, and we do not conceptualize segmentation as a market segmentation, that you try to figure out what are your best customers, what is your customer base comprised of, but instead segmentation means grouping, categorizing, innovating SMEs in order to better guide decision-making process. So it's not a particular scheme of segmentation for identifying the profile of SMEs that should be supported, but we do not assume that different groups cannot be supported. Yes, quite to the contrary. In our segmentation process, there will be a couple of groups of innovating SMEs that should be supported. So, being a part of a couple of segments means that you can have still chance and opportunity to be supported, but it depends. The question is what support measures should be used to support you. And the second important assumption is the economic and socio-cultural one. Because, as I said, the very call for proposals that the European Commission had is that they wanted from us particular results. So we want, of course, to improve the segmentation in order to deliver better possibilities for improving economic indicators, but also in terms of regional and sociocultural conditioning of the particular regions of the SMEs that function operate in particular regions. So it's not only about growth as such, about economic development only, but it is also some kind of targeted initiative, targeted methodology that will be aimed at supporting different circumstances, different characteristics of regions. So in different regions, people basically sometimes need different things and accept different things. In order to do it, we singled out a couple of categories that we are focusing on. So as you can see here, we have enterprise life cycle, innovation cycle, sectors, regions, sociocultural values, and others. Just for instance, you can have a look here. I won't be reading all of those variables, but when it comes to enterprise life cycles, we distinguish those variables that can be easily measured and are related to the company's enterprise life cycle, to the company's life cycle. When it comes to, so here you can see is size, age, employment growth, etc. So prior innovation also, it also relates to enterprise life cycle. When it comes to innovation cycle, here it is quite important and I think a bit neglected dimension when it comes to segmenting. So we try to find out what are main innovative activities in a firm. So our methodology assumes that based on the knowledge of main innovation activities in a particular firm, you can somehow to group it into the phases in a life cycle. Also, the number of enterprises involved in an innovation cycle is also important because I'm sure you know such a notion as open innovation, which is very often perceived as a cooperation between SMEs, large companies, academies, universities. So it is also important who is an actor of the innovation cycle and who is actually developing the innovating solution. It is important to know, because you need to know whom you should support as an organization, supporting organization, in order to maximize your policies, your aims. Also sectors to measure sectors, we took into account market concentration, characteristics of industry, life cycle of the industry. So it was also very important. Regions, so networks for learning, networks for research, human capital, so the very basic aspects here, but also not always taken into account by supporting institutions. We have also plenty, I would even say, socio-cultural values, as you can see, based on individualism, collectivism, time horizon, job creation, education, risk, health, tradition. So here it's a bit different, because those categories are those variables, those category as such, sociocultural values, is flexible, and it should be decided by each and every institution, organization, how they would like to address different values in different regions. For example, do they want support some values, develop some values, to enhance some values in particular communities, or if they, for example, want to be in line with the values that are dominating in particular communities and societies. So here our idea was to propose a couple of those values variables that can be then weighted differently according to the policy aims that an innovation support organization would like to pursue. And also a couple of other variables like past innovation success, the meaning of tertiary education, external ties of a company, prior funding, and management structure. Now, yes, I would like to tell you about that, to point out, yes, that in order to conduct our research, we used two databases. One of them was Community Innovation Survey. As you can see, this is a Eurostat database. We gained access to microdata for our project, which were deeply analyzed by our colleagues from University of Łódź. And our first reports were based on this. They were used mainly to assess the existing approach, to know, to find out about companies' behavior. And also we created our own database, because we found for our purposes the Community Innovation Survey was not enough, because it didn't have many factors, many variables that we needed to develop our methodology. So we at the very beginning, at the proposal stage, we assumed that we will carry out we carry out our own primary field work in Finland, Poland, Spain, and the UK, in order to gather the data that we need. And we successfully created such a database. And Kasia, who will continue from now on, will tell you more about this database and about our segmentation process. So Kasia, please continue.
Okay. We would like to focus for a while on the SMEthod database, as it is one of the milestones in our project. As Paweł already said, it was critical for us and for the project success to collect primary data related to the SMEs innovation performance, but on the firm level. because we wanted to test and to demonstrate the usability and also the potential of SMEthod segmentation methodology. And the data aggregated in our database allowed us to test the indicators influencing SMEs innovating performance, and also to define variables predicting class membership of particular SMEs. The displayed slide shows you a few key facts that describe our database. It was elaborated as a result of more than 700 interviews with European SMEs, mainly from the project case study countries. And the selected research techniques were computer-assisted telephone interview and computer-assisted web interview. The questionnaire, the research tool, was designed as a standardized tool with close-ended questions that were related to the observable enterprise characteristics. And those characteristics are, for example, innovative behavior of investigated SMEs, management system, public support received for innovations in the surveyed SMEs, type of impact of the introduced innovation, and so on. And in order to gain the highest possible response rate, we decided to prepare different language versions of our survey. And it should be also added here that apart from the SMEthod methodology testing, segmentation methodology testing, this data set was is being utilized in the testing phase of the decision support tool. Okay, let's continue with the next slide. The next slide presents the outcomes of our segmentation process. The enterprises were segmented using latent class analysis technique. First of all, we have identified in our database SMEs that in the analyzed period introduced non-innovations, and we denote them as 0 segment. And then the remaining firms were segmented using LCA technique. Focusing on the results of the segmentation, we have identified 6 segments. There is a large segment of non-innovative SMEs, segment 0 marked with dark blue color on the chart. And there is also another large group of older firms, segment 5. They don't take numerous initiatives in the field of innovation, but their market position is quite well established as they performed well in terms of sales revenue, asset, and sales revenue growth. We also obtained 2 small segments with high achievements in almost all investigated dimensions. This is segment number 3, presenting the highest shares of firms that received funding and introduced innovation before 2015. And secondly, a highly successful small and young firms aggregated in segment number 4. And finally, as a result of segmentation procedure, we obtained 2 remaining segments, 1 and 2, which have fewer distinctive characteristics, but of sufficient variance to separate them. And of course, a synthetic picture of each segment might be presented, and it has been done in our reports and deliverables. But due to the time limitations, I'm going to focus during this webinar on the 2 most innovative segments. I mean, segment number 3 and segment number 4, that presents the highest desired values from the point of view of innovative activity. Okay, so let's start with segment number 3. It presents the highest shares of firms that received funding and introduced innovation prior to 2015. And globally presents the highest desired values from the point of view of innovative activity in particular aspects that are illustrated within the displayed charts. It can be seen that SMEs belonging to this segment have high shares of managers and ordinary workers with tertiary education. The major part of them have inclusive management style. They perform many cooperational activities. They have high internal complementary capabilities to commercialize new products and processes. And additionally, and they also performs export activities. This is segment number 4 that seems to show the greatest potential for innovation. Because apart from favorable values of particular innovative parameters, which was also the case of segment number 3 that I have already described, firms belonging to segment number 4 are highly successful in some key dimensions that are presented at the bottom of the slide. Starting from the last chart, it can be seen that segment 4 aggregates young and small firms, which are at the same time the most innovative when different levels of the introduced innovation. It is shown on the 2 remaining dimensions on the bottom. And for the purpose of selecting an enterprise to which innovation support measure will be granted, and the supporting agencies investigate not only the applicant profile that correspond with relevant segment in our approach, but normally it is also verified by the supporting agency to what extent the potential innovation may contribute to achieving the objectives that are fostered by the supporting institution. If we can move to the next slide, I would like to explain you that SMEthod delivers not only variables that we use in the segmentation process, but also we prepared the list of possible goals and objectives of innovation that might be potentially fostered by the supporting agencies. Among those goals are novelty type, economic goals, and also the environmental and societal benefits. And our approach to the innovation support measure matching is illustrated in the displayed diagram. After establishing SME segments based on the observable data, we took the advantage of the detailed information in the SMEthod database to check which support measure maximize the likelihood that the given segment will achieve the specified goal.
Okay, thank you, Kasia. Now I would like to tell you about our final event that will be organized on the 10th of June 2020 in Berlin. It will be a part of ISPIM's in conference in 2020, Innovating Our Common Future. It will be a 3-day event, and ISPIM as an innovation society and gathers many experts on innovation management. So we will be happy to take part in this conference with our final conference of our SMEthod projects, and we would like also to invite all of you to take part, even if you do not have an opportunity to take part in person. The session will be live streamed, so we will be promoting it on our channels, and you will be able to join us. So please save the date. This is the 10th of June 2020 in Berlin, and follow us for details. Here are our different online channels that I would like to encourage you to follow. You have Twitter, you have our website, SMEthod.org. We have groups on LinkedIn as well, and a Facebook profile that you can see. SMEthod-H2020 is basically our profile name on Twitter and Facebook. So please, you are very more than welcome to join and to follow our news. And we would like to thank you for being with us today at our webinar. We hope you could learn something new and something valuable about the segmentation process, and we hope that our research results were interested to you. And now if we have some questions, there will be a Q&A session. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Paweł and Kasia. We have one very interesting question. What does an innovation support organization need to do to use your methodology?
Okay, yes, our results of our project, we intend to commercialize it, to use it on the market. So we will prepare an exploitation strategy, as it is called in the European projects nomenclature, and we of course would like to offer it on the market, and basically we will enable supporting agencies to test our methodology by some time for free, and then it depends on the feedback, on different possibilities. We will try to offer it on market basis to the innovation support organization. But if you are interested in testing our methodology, you can reach us via our channels, our email that is available on our website, and basically it is possible that there will be a possibility to test our methodology for free.
Thank you very much, Paweł. Maybe the last question for Kasia. Have you consulted your approach with potential stakeholders? Were they involved in the development of the SMEthod results?
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course. We do this. We consult our stakeholders and we involve them in the development of our results. Actually, we are at the moment in the middle of the process of interviewing the representatives of innovation support institutions and agencies at the European, national and regional level. And the main aim of those interviews is to gather experts' opinions to prepare some useful recommendations for future policy making in the area of supporting SMEs with their innovation activities. But coming back to the issue of consulting our results and assumptions, I would like to say that we ask our interviewees during these interviews about the challenges their organizations face when supporting innovation in SMEs. We ask them how do they know that particular SME is innovative, how do they optimally match the innovation support instruments with SMEs, and so on. Discussing all the mentioned aspects help us to validate and to better design our segmentation procedure. And also, I know that our technical partners that are responsible for the development of the decision support tool involved also in the testing phase of the tool, the innovation stakeholders, both from the public and private side. Summing up, yes, we involve stakeholders in our works, and their opinions and requirements are taken into account.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kasia. Thank you, Paweł. And thank you to everyone who attended the webinar. You know where you can find us. Just check the website, our Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And I hope to see you in Berlin.
Yeah, thank you very much to all participants. If you have some other questions or remarks, just feel free to share with us via our channels, and we will continue. And you can, of course, also sign up to our newsletters. and just be in touch with us. So thank you very much, and have a good day.